Half of early retirees in COVID era are now impoverished. Ooh. Josh, you've been telling us we can retire. Now I'm reading articles that we're impoverished. Let's read this. Over here to Fortune magazine, half of boomers and late Gen Xers who took early retirement during the first COVID wave have fallen into poverty. And look at these people. They're retired. I mean, they're impoverished, and they have that old-fashioned accounting thing. Look at the concern. They're impoverished. Thousands of seasoned pros in the UK dropped. In the UK? Well, I'm in America. Thousands of seasoned pros in the UK dropped. Oh, by the way, the markets fell this week. I think this whole week they've fallen. Why? Because I put some money in, of course. So if I say jump, you should go to the ground. If I say go to the ground, you should jump. Just that's a fact check. All right. Thousands of seasoned pros dropped out of the workforce early during the pandemic. But far from enjoying an early retirement, new research now shows that nearly half of them have been forced into poverty. Around 390,000 people of 50 to 70 years old who retired during the pandemic are living in poverty, according to the Institute for Fiscal Studies. Poverty means their annual income is below 60% of the average household. Interesting. So poverty is determined that your annual income is below 60% of the average household. Check this out. 1040 of a couple I was working with today. That's their total income, $46,000 in 2025. $18,900 from interest, taxable interest, $11,600 from dividends, and $16,000 from capital gains. They pay no tax. They got $46,000 of income. That's in 2025. In 2022, I think it was the last we saw, $80,000 was the median, not the average, but the median income. The average will be higher because the averages always get skewed towards the outlier, right? So the average, the median household income was $80,000. So we take 46, divide by 80, and we are living in poverty because we are 57% of the average, again, the median American household. Interesting. Do you think these guys are living in poverty? Do you really, really think they're living in poverty? So remember, what determines poverty? Well, according to a lot of the researchers, is what shows on your 1040. That's just stupid, dude. These guys, so let me give you an example. Let's say you had $100,000 in a bank account. You spent the $100,000 over the course of 2023. Are you in poverty? Of course you're not. What's your taxable income? Zero. You have no taxable income. You have no taxable income because the $100,000 in a savings account has already been taxed. So you are looking like you're in poverty, but you have $100,000 of spending money. Don't look at poverty as determined by income. You look at poverty as determined by spending power. So what these guys are going to do is sell their house and live off the cash or the proceeds of their home. They'll buy another home and just go on Obamacare for cheap Obamacare. But Josh, you just said yesterday, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, they still had to pay taxes. Actually, what's happening here is they're selling their house and they're getting a not step up basis, but $500,000 exclusion. Now they're still going to have to pay some capital gain tax. They still pay a hell of a lot of income tax as well, by the way. So the interesting thing about qualifying for Obamacare as opposed to qualifying for Medicaid is that Obamacare is based on income, 100%. Medicaid, on the other hand, is based on assets. So based on income, we're saying, what is our income? Our income's low. Medicaid is based on assets. And the way you get your assets is you pretend you don't have them. That's the difference, which I said in my video yesterday. You're putting your assets over here, but you're still retaining them within arm's length, so you still have them in the family. Here, we don't have the income. We're just living off our savings account. Where our savings account, how do we get that? Oh, we got it from having paid taxes before, in which now it's in savings, which is essentially tax-free. You're still going to have some interest income you have to pay tax on, but in this case, their interest income won't be enough to pay tax in that $100,000 example. All right, so anyway, so these guys are apparently impoverished, but they're not impoverished. They got money because they're living off the savings account. All right, let's keep going. All right, so it's often assumed that older people who left the workforce during the pandemic were wealthy individuals retiring in comfort, says that lady. Or I guess a guy, I don't know, a senior economist at the IFS. But our analysis shows that those who left in the first year of the pandemic experienced a sharp rise in poverty, despite overall poverty rates falling that year. And they also suffered large falls in well-being. The ISS research highlights the eye-opening reason that forced older workers to toss in the towel on their careers. They point to job losses during the early stages of the crisis, coupled with additional health risks faced by older workers, as likely to have forced many into retirement. So this is even before the V's came out, before they mandated the V's, which made my wife get fired because she's not taking them. Because she says, why would I take that? I'm young and I'm healthy. Why would I take that stuff? I think what it was is you had a lot of people scared. their own shadows, and they probably shut themselves in. Did you not hear about this Taylor Lorenz lady from the New York Times? I mean, it's nuts. She went to literally just like last month. She went to JFK, and they said, you need to pull your mask down so we can take your picture before the screening and security. And she like flipped out. She goes, "Oh, I can't believe I had to pull my mask down. Oh my goodness." I said, wait, Taylor Lorenz. I thought the mask wasn't to protect you, it's to protect others around you. So why are you so panicked when you have to pull your mask down if the mask is to protect others around you? I mean, the whole thing is just so stupid. So you got people like this who haven't, literally, there are people like that out there, folks, who haven't gone outside. They're so scared of this little crown floating around out there that's going to get them. It's going to get them. And then they'll cite reports like of death tolls and stuff like that. You're like, isn't it interesting that the flu just magically went away? Weird how that happened. Isn't it interesting how we have lots of evidence of the death tolls being, we'll just say corrupted, because if you die in a motorcycle accident and you happen to have COVID, we're going to attribute that to a COVID death. You think I'm making that up? You haven't been paying attention. That's just a fact. All right, let's keep going. But we do have some evidence here because she says, well, that Chinese person, I think it's that Chinese name, right? It's that Chinese name, isn't it? What was the name of that person? Zhu? I think it's a Chinese name. I'm just talking to this lady originally from China who's just freaking crushing in the U.S. Her whole family came here. The siblings, they all came to the U.S. and are just all crushing. I was like, man, does China not know you're losing your brain drain? You're losing your talent, and there's not enough people in China in terms of they're not having enough babies. It's just decaying in front of our very eye. All these people think China is going to overtake you now. It's nuts. They don't have people. You need people to do this stuff. And their people are getting older and older and older. And there isn't enough coming up behind. I'm telling you right now, do not be worried about China, dude. It's nuts. We get worried about what's happening internally, but not about China. That's not at all. All right, let's keep going. Right here is a concern. The researchers found that many older people who left the workforce in the first year of the pandemic had to cut their food expenditures by about $77 a week. That's a big deal. And had lower levels of well-being than previous cohorts of people who recently stopped working. So these guys kind of forced themselves out of the labor force because they're so scared, even though they did not have the financial capability to do that. You can't say, oh my goodness, that shows early retirement is bad. It's just these people just got scared. They got scared. They fell for it hook, line, and sinker. And as such, they made a mistake. They shut themselves in, and they don't have the resources to do it. It's sad. It's sad that they fell for the media. The people like Neil Ferguson at the Imperial College of London with their freaking, and it's just fancy. What's the word? Fanciful? I don't know. Insane amount of people are going to die from COVID. He said the same thing about swine flu. He said the same thing about mad cow. And just these guys are just nuts. You just can't listen to these people. But anyway, it's sad that these people fell for it. But where I'm trying to make the point is, don't listen to impoverished numbers, because if the poverty numbers are based on income, and income is based on your tax reporting, that has nothing to do with your poverty level. Your spending has to do with your poverty level. Do you have enough to spend to pay the bills? If you don't, and you have to lose $77 a week of food, well, that is a problem, 100%. What put them there was the idiots that are running the show, 100%, who just scared them. That the air is dangerous. It's insane. It's just sad. Anyway, all right, be as it may. Don't forget, if these videos help you, I guess that's kind of all I want to say about that. I find it so sad. Let's just keep going here real quick, because you'll see some. Their health was worse than those who have been out of the workforce for much longer. Interesting. So these people's health was worse than those who have been out of the workforce for much longer. What does that say? Remember how they say if you retire early, you're going to die sooner? Well, apparently not, because the people who have been out of the workforce for that much longer had better health than these people. Meanwhile, pre-pandemic retired workers didn't have to substantially change their food expenditure upon leaving the workforce. And more proof of what I always say. If they retired pre-pandemic, they did not have to reduce their food consumption. It was just this one cohort of people. In contrast, those who retired the year later, during the Great Resignation, have enjoyed similar living standards and well-being to pre-pandemic retirees. So no one's going to see all that stuff. They're going to say this one cohort shows that you can't retire early without recognizing that's just an exception to the rule. It's sad. All right. As always, like these videos, you want to help my support. Well, today's my birthday, so many of you have bought me a coffee. Much obliged. I really do appreciate you guys doing that. If you haven't bought me a coffee and you didn't see my first video and you want to buy me a coffee on my birthday, You should give me a birthday present. You can do so in the doobly-doo down below. And of course, as always, if you want to sign up for my newsletter, it's in the doobly-doo down below. We'll be going live on Locals tomorrow. So if you want to be a monthly subscriber to Locals, $5 a month, baby. It's love to have you. You get a bigger audience every day. There's great. So if you want to be a monthly subscriber and join our live streams, we'll be happy to have you. All right. Love your thoughts. We'll see you